It is 6 o'clock on March 18th, and I would like to call the regular board meeting to order. Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Will.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut.
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Please stand me and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can I get an approval of the agenda as written?
So moved.
When do I need do I need a motion now? So I want to put forward a motion
I think we do first and second and then changes.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to
Second.
Okay. So I'm going to motion to amend the agenda to include a symbolic vote on a resolution at the end of the meeting before executive session. And the resolution is to ask for the board's support to sign the resolution in support of the Fair School Funding Plan. So I'll read more about it when we get to that point in the meeting.
So would we put that in under J3 discussion?
Or before J2, because J2 is executive.
Oh, okay, yes, right.
J1A.
J1A, sounds good.
Okay, yeah, so we'll do it right after public participation. Okay.
Okay, so I have a move to move that to J1A. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut.
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now I need an approval of the minutes of the board meeting that took place on February 20th of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Will.
Yes.
Mrs. Powers.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut.
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now we'll move over to featured artists.
Thank you, Mrs. Mason, members of the board, Superintendent Spicer. If I could invite all of our featured artists from Seipelt Elementary forward, that would be great to be recognized. And as they're coming up, I want to call some special attention to something new that we're going to do as part of our featured artist celebration. For the past couple years, I've always felt like, you know, and I know they appreciate the certificate as something to hang on the fridge, but something that students can kind of keep with them as a recognition of their art. So I commissioned a senior visual arts student that's been working kind of in an internship with me this year, Emily Zeke, to create a representation of all of the visual arts at Milford High School and throughout our all of our schools K-12. And Emily came up with this image. So as you can see, it involves graphic design, ceramics, drawing and painting, kind of all of photography, all of the different media involved in visual art. And we've created a custom enamel pin from that image that Emily created that will be awarded to all of our featured artists. So you guys will be the first ones to receive it tonight. And we'd just really like to highlight the work that Emily did on that. And I think, Steve, if you can go to the next slide, we'll recognize our student artists, and we'll kind of revisit that here in a little bit. So each of you will get a pin tonight to keep with you, okay? First, I'd like to recognize fifth grader. We've got two of our fifth graders created these ceramic textured dragon eyes that are just gorgeous behind us. First, we have Selsabil Ilabt. We also have fifth grader Benson Brown. We have a fifth grader with a, I'm going to get it wrong here, Mrs. Casper. Repoussé medal. I practiced all week. Carly Marker. We have Libby Paulus could not be with us tonight. She has a Milford Youth Theater rehearsal, but she has the first pop art onomatopoeia. She's a 4th grader with us. And Liam also has a pop art onomatopoeia. Liam's challenge is to spell onomatopoeia. I'm kidding. As a former English teacher, I cannot spell onomatopoeia. Juliet Dietrich created the perspective tree. She's one of our outstanding 3rd graders. And Elena Callahan created the value ice cream. She's also a 3rd grader. And Anna Kelly created the Henri Rousseau tiger on the very end. She could not be with us here tonight, I don't believe, but we will get her and Libby both recognized down at Seipelt Elementary later this week. Wonderful work there. And again, I don't want to miss any opportunity to celebrate the arts. So Steve, if you could advance to the next slide. Go ahead to the next slide, Steve, if you could. Thank you. I want to recognize, we've been talking for months about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. This past weekend, we sold out 2 of our 3 shows. We had an incredible feast between the Saturday shows provided by Tina Reynolds and the amazing, amazing food service team. We had over 1,300 attendees, and this, by all accounts, by every measure that we could look at, it was the best-selling and highest-grossing production in Milford drama history. Many people don't know this. I know, sometimes on social media things, Milford drama is 100% self-sustaining. Every dollar they raise goes back into the program. None of their production dollars come from the district general fund. So really proud of those kids and what they've done. And I want to show you just a few highlights from that. Steve, if you could go ahead. When I mentioned Emily Zeke created this incredible pre-show. It's supposed to represent kind of the moving pictures from the Harry Potter movies. The portraits all kind of move. So she took images of all of our cast members and put those out. And then, Steve, if you would, the next one. This is one of my favorite scenes. The Dementors. 100% student constructed, student run, student done. Just absolutely outstanding. If you listen super close when they come in, you can hear the audience just gasp at how incredible they were. So the next slide is just the cast and crew, and just an incredible production all around. I want to thank the district for your support. I know many of you on the board were able to make it out this weekend. And to the cast and crew and Mr. Derringer, the numbers and drama have just gone through the roof, and really doing some incredible things. So thank you so much for your support. Yes, sir.
You got the microphone. Tell us about Scotland.
Scotland. So our drama program is part of what they do in the summer, because the work never stops. They have been invited to be a part of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is the largest outdoor drama festival in the world. So they will be traveling to Scotland in late July, early August. We've got about 15 students, and they're putting on a play that they wrote. So they had to apply, they had to be accepted, and they're going to be taking the show on the road to Scotland this summer. So it's pretty darn exciting. Pretty darn exciting. The arts are thriving here in Milford.
You guys still looking for chaperones?
I asked the same question, Mr. Wilson, but
Very cool.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh. All right, we're going to turn it over to Principal Melissa Carraher.
I have some student presenters with me, so if you are presenting tonight, come on over by Mrs. Iger. Well, good evening. My name is Melissa Carraher, and I have the privilege of serving as the principal alongside Mrs. Iger, my teaching assistant at Seipelt Elementary. I am excited about tonight. Last year when we presented to you, we shared about what we do for our all-school mornings, which is when we bring our students together, all together as a student body, have a handful of staff that help while our teachers are taking some time for professional development and planning. This year, it was a great honor to hear that one of our all-school assembly mornings, or our Friday morning assemblies, focused on generosity. And these students, along with their colleagues or their peers in 4th grade, came up with their own idea to give back to our community, or to a larger community, I should say, and they are here to tell you about Project Sea Turtle.
Good evening. Good evening, members of the board. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Nathan Bischoff, and I'm a 4th grade student at SUPERINTENDENT Elementary. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you tonight. This year, our class was inspired in a big way by our school's December character trait, generosity. In our class, we watched a video about a girl who gave back to her community by collecting recyclables to raise money for an organization called Smile Train, which helps children with cleft palates. In the video, it made us think about ways we could give back and make a difference too. We talked to our teacher, Ms. Shiflett. She agreed that we could work together on a project to help spread generosity. I knew immediately what I wanted to do. I have always loved turtles, and sea turtles have been my favorite animal for as long as I can remember. It all started when I first saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I became fascinated with turtles. So when our class started to think about ways we could give back, I suggested we do something to help protect the sea turtles. I shared some ideas with the class, and we started researching ways to support the sea turtles. We found out that there are organizations dedicated to saving them, and Ms. Shiflett helped us find SeaTurtles.org, a group that raises awareness and funds to help protect the sea turtles. Surprisingly, it was something the majority of us agreed on and wanted to be a part of.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Emerson Dillingham, and I am here to share. Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Emerson Dillingham, and I am here to share the exciting research we did in our class about sea turtles. We learned that sea turtles are important to the ocean's ecosystem, but they face many dangers. One big threat is pollution, like plastic bags, which can harm or even kill them if they eat it by mistake. We also discovered that climate change is making beaches too warm for sea turtles to lay their eggs. We looked into how light pollution can confuse baby turtles, making it harder for them to find the ocean when they hatch. Our class wants to raise awareness about these issues and encourage everyone to take steps to protect sea turtles. We hope the money our school raises can support efforts to reduce pollution and beach cleanups.
Hi, my name is Lily Wall, and I want to tell you where the money we raise will go. We're donating to SeaTurtles.org, an organization that helps protect sea turtles in their habitats. So far, we raised $434.34. Even one of my classmates collected $100 of their own. We love asking our teachers for updates on how much we've raised, and it feels good to know we're making a difference. Our class is excited to help these amazing creatures, and we hope our efforts can inspire others to do the same.
Hello, my name is Ola Quintanilla, and I'd like to share how this project has brought our entire 4th grade class together. We worked together on making posters, flyers, Google Slides presentations, and we even gave updates of the announcements of the money raised in order to keep everyone informed. The best part is that this was all led by us. We came together as a school community, learning about how we can help protect sea turtles. Through our work, we made a real impact on SUPERINTENDENT Elementary and the environment. We're proud to make our mark here at SUPERINTENDENT, and we hope our efforts inspire others to take action too. Thank you, Milford Board of Education and Superintendent Spicer, for inviting us here tonight.
I think that was the best part of my day. I hope it was yours as well. These students are just representing a small part of our 4th grade population. I have some 4th graders here tonight. If you are in 4th grade at SUPERINTENDENT, will you stand up to also be recognized for your work? And then there are two other people. Mrs. Lindsay Shiflett is here with us this evening, and without her having the flexibility and open-mindedness to be able to incorporate this into her classroom, along with Mrs. Queen and Miss Hensley, we appreciate them very much, so kudos to you guys. And last but not least, Lauren Iger is my teacher on assignment, and I would not be able to be here having this presentation tonight for all of you if it were not for her role in this. She puts together all of our Friday morning assemblies. She is really the person who drives this, and if I did not have that support within the building, we would not be able to have as many of these awesome activities. So I appreciate her as a person, and I also appreciate you guys as a board recognizing how important her role is in the elementary building. So we appreciate your time tonight, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Good job.
I just wanted to thank all the students for presenting. I think it's so great that you took your theme of generosity and made it important and close to you so that you can help reach outside of your school community. That's a really, really great thing, and it shows how just a small group of people can have a huge impact on the world. So thank you so much.
And we're still taking donations.
I want to compliment them on their public speaking. That is not easy to do, and you have a big crowded room here, and you all did it very, very well. Great job.
I want to recognize the gentleman who took care of changing the slides. Because he knew exactly when to do it, and he wasn't reading anything.
You want to introduce yourself, or you want me to?
Hi, I'm Grayson Meyer, and I'm a 4th grade class in Mrs. Queen's class.
And I would say that Grayson is the technology guru at SIPEL. Mrs. Iger and I needed to make a video yesterday. We actually had Grayson come out of class to help us make that video. So he is our go-to, so he did a great job as well. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, good job.
I think we're going to turn it back to Josh Kaufman.
We are, and I'm going to invite my student, I'm going to recognize our high school mock trial team. While I'm doing that, I'm going to ask our student artists from SIPEL to go with moms and dads and friends with Mrs. Karaher, and I'm going to meet you out there in a minute. But if I could have our high school mock trial students please come up. Now we've got several of you here. Oh, you're good, you're good. Okay, no problem, no problem. No, yeah, you're fine, you're fine. All right. We are going to recognize our high school mock. Do I need to start by saying, may it please the board? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Is that how right? Yeah, that's right. Is that right? Okay. They always start there. Am I correct? You always start your statements with, may it please the court? May it please the board. We're going to recognize our high school mock trial team who this past weekend? Week ago, made it to state, which is pretty darn incredible. And this matches the furthest that Milford Schools has ever gone in state competition in mock trial. So pretty darn incredible. A total of 31 teams from throughout the entire state, 23 public, 9 private, made it to state. So some pretty elite company there. And we would like to recognize the advisors, Miss Gabby Downey, who's retiring at the end of the year. So going out on top is always a really cool thing. Mrs. Melissa Marson for being their legal advisor. Every team has to have a legal advisor, an actual practicing attorney. So thank you for that and your time with that. We also want to recognize the 6 students that were on that state team. Grace Ham, who won Best Attorney, Libby Morgan, who won Best Attorney, Emmett Derrick, Natalie Chiapelli, Marina Chiapelli, and Kushi Patel. So congratulations.
Great job. Great job. Oh, thank you.
Great job.
I didn't realize they had to have attorneys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Aaron Zupka, where is he at? Loves him a microphone.
Danger.
So I'll tell you one thing. I don't know a lot about turtles, but I do know a lot about athletics. So I'm going to try to stand up here and congratulate and acknowledge a lot of our winter teams who put on great performance this year. So I'd like to start with our dance team, if that's all right. I don't know if you have a preference, but we're going to start them. Ladies first. I was always been taught ladies first, so come on up. Coach, come on up here with them. So we have 3 young ladies here today, and Coach Kennedy Fales here with us. I know a lot of the other girls on the team are working, or they're at their studios, or have practice. Dance is a 24/7, 12 months a year thing. If you want to be good, you're working all the time. So it's really hard to get everybody together, as that can be seen by our practices at 6 a.m. because it's the only time where they can get everybody together. So I know they really like that. The breakfast squad. It's really good. So we were honored to, these young ladies put on a great performance this season. They just completed their 5th ECC championship, so 5 in a row, 5-peat, hashtag 5-peat. And when I got here 6 years ago, we weren't in that position at all. We were on a different level. We knew we had to do some things differently, and we were lucky enough to have some great leadership and some great coaches come in over those last couple years, including Coach Fales here, who's done a tremendous job with the program. So in addition to winning their 5th straight ECC championship, they also won first in Palm and game day, Palm and hip hop are the 2 areas they competed with. They also went to the OASSA. I'm not going to tell you what that stands for. Educators will know. But they had the state championships up in Heath High School, and they finished runner-up in their 2 divisions in Palm and hip hop. And then they were qualified talent enough to go to nationals and compete at the NDA National Championships in Orlando, Florida. It's a great place if you haven't been there. And out of 43 teams in their category, they made the first 2 qualifying rounds. You have to make 2 cuts to get to the finals, which we've never done before. And they ended up finishing 14th out of 43 teams, which is very impressive. And they're only getting better. We have a lot of young, talented kids here in the program. So the last thing I'll say, Coach Fales, I know, first of all, her shoe game's always on point. Show them her shoes. Show everybody shoes. Her shoe game's always on point. So I just want to talk about her, embarrass her a little bit. She's been a tremendous leader. This is our 2nd year running our program. If you don't know, we posted a picture that she danced at University of Kentucky and also danced professionally with the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA and other great experience. So we are very fortunate to have her. If you talk to my other counterparts in our league in Southwest Ohio, good dance coaches, good cheer coaches are hard to find. And we have a great one here, and a lot of schools don't have that, and that makes or breaks your program. So we're so fortunate to have her and her leadership, her creativity, her enthusiasm. Like I said, 6 a.m. practices, I'd be out. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go coach golf. I'm going to do something else. But she puts the work in, the commitment. They're already starting for next year, and it's not even the conclusion of this year. So I want to thank them all. I know a lot of them aren't here tonight, some may be watching, but I want to thank Coach and our 3 ladies here today on a fantastic season and look forward to the future. I think you're all back, right? We don't have any seniors here, so you're all back. So can we congratulate them properly for a tremendous year?
Congratulations, you guys. Congratulations. And thank you.
And also, they have the best bedazzle around.
Marianne's going to show up in one of those coats.
If you need a jumpsuit with some bedazzle and your name on it, I got it. All right, we're gonna bring up our swimmers here. We have 3 state divers as well. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today. One is working a job, and the other 2 are traveling to Europe tomorrow morning to visit their sister. So, but I do want to give a quick shout out. Audrey Fox, who's a junior, qualified for the state tournament, the state meet for the 3rd time in 3 years. She's going to go for number 4 next year, what no female diver has ever done in school history. And we've had a couple really good divers dating back to the late 80s, early 90s there. Also, the 2 Eminger brothers. So we have Patrick and we have Jacob. The other brother, Lucas, just graduated last year and is diving at George Mason. So there's quite a genetic, that family has some great history and genes there. But Patrick is a junior. He ended up winning the ECC, went all the way to the state championships, and placed 10th in the state of Ohio as a junior. So just missed the podium by 2 spots. And then his brother, Jacob, he's only a sophomore. He made state last year and made state this year and ended up finishing 26th in the state. So I know they're out here, but they may be watching. Can we take a minute and congratulate them on a tremendous year? All right, let's bring our swimmers up and coaches, please. And you can tell they're swimmers by their hair, right?
Yeah.
Of course, lacrosse is kind of catching on. They all dye their hair now, too, so I don't know. So we have 3 out of our 4 of the quintet of swimmers here today, and we're missing a coach, too. But I just want to introduce them really quick, and I'm going to say a couple words, and then I don't know if, Coach, if you have anything to say, you're good. Probably not. Okay. So Coach Megan Stillwell, she's our varsity head coach. Coach LaRon Morley, he's actually works for VarTech, and he is assistant coach. And then we have Landon Crum, who actually goes to Miami Valley Christian, but through Ohio rules is able to swim because they don't have a swim program. Then we have Emmett Fentress. You're probably well familiar with that name. Evan and Aaron's two of the best swimmers we've ever had there. He's the third of the 3 and is phenomenally talented himself. And then Cameron Barclay, our one senior up here, is also up here. So I want to talk about their season briefly. So obviously went in the season with big expectations. We had a great season last year, finished second in the league, made state in a lot of events, were top 8 in a couple. And then this year we knew we were returning everybody. We were poised for a really big year, and they did not disappoint. So we ended up finishing as league champs on the last event of the ECC meet in Mason, and the 400 free relay came down. They weren't telling us the scores because I don't think they want anybody to know, but we ended up winning that event and winning the whole thing, I think, by 7 points, which we've got a very talented Southwest Ohio swimming, and ECC is very talented. So we were able to do that. Many of them, first, second team all-league honors there. And then, the sectional meet, you have to qualify from the sectionals to the district and district until the state championships. We ended up having, Brady Campbell's not here. We'll talk about him in a minute. But these 4, 3 plus Brady, ended up placing 6th in the state as a team with 4 swimmers, and including our divers, obviously, who scored, which is impressive. So we were right behind Mason, who probably has 100 swimmers, and we had 4 at state plus divers, and we were right behind them for 6th in the state. We had multiple district and sectional champs, but ultimately we had a handful make state. We had the 4 athletes that I named in 7 different events. So Brady Campbell, who's not here, he's a sophomore, and Brady is a talent, a generational talent. Brady, who finished 3rd and 4th last year in the state in his 2 events. This year, he won the 50 free. He was our first Ohio State champ in swimming or diving in school history. We've been at school for a long time. We've been for a long time. He finished 2nd in the 100 fly, and that's probably not even his top event. And he was part of the 2 relays who were 3rd in the state overall. And like I said, he's a sophomore, so you'll expect more to hear that name. You might want to get his autograph at some point because it might be worth something. But also we had Landon Crum, like I said, is a junior. He was the ECC champ in the 100 back, a state qualifier in that event as well, and set a new school record. 51.65 of my math's right, my memory. Look at that. That's what I dream of these times right here. So Landon was also part of our 200 and 400 free relay that were 3rd overall to state and the highest finish in school history in any relay. Emmett is a junior as well. Phenomenal season. He was the ECC runner-up in the 100 free and 100 fly. He took 7th in the state in the 100 fly, and he was also a state qualifier in the 100 free, taking 10th. It was also part of our relay. All 4 of them are part of that relay, so they're all that finished 3rd overall and set school records in those events. Cameron Barclay, he's the Iron Man. He swims the 500, which is 20 laps down and back, if my math's right. He like I said, was the lead ECC champ in the 500 and 200 free relay, or free event. Was a district runner-up in the 500. He qualified for state in the 500. Should have been the 200 free as well, but we're not going to talk about it. He had an unfortunate DQ, but he would have been probably placed at state. So I know that eats at him, but it doesn't take away from anything accomplished. So he didn't break the school record in the 500, but the next week he did when it didn't count. So I want to give him props for breaking the school record unofficially. So he was just a week off from tapering. I mean, and like I said, full circle, the 204 free relay teams competed with some of the best, St. X and I believe St. Charles up in Columbus area. Those were the 2 teams that were battling out for a team state title, and we were competing with them at state for the top 3, which is just a testament to all those guys. Also, All-American honors. Both relays are qualified for All-American honors, and Brady's 50 free is automatically All-American, and Brady has 2 more events, 100 free and 100 fly that are under consideration. They have to wait till all the results in the nation come in, and they set a time, and you have to make that time to be an All-American. So pretty darn impressive. And I also want to mention Coach Stillwell, it was the ECC Boys Swimming Coach of the Year. So congratulations to the coach, congratulations to our swimmers. And we bring 3 out of 4 back next year, so we're excited. So congrats, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job.
Parker, send Aaron back in here. I think we're going to move to the next section. President Mason?
Yes, we're doing mission moments, and we're going to hand it over to Aaron this month, who has our mission moment.
Coach Mickey Stakely would come on up here. You can bring your family up too, your boys. You bring them all. It's a family affair if they want to. So just kind of following up, I was asked to speak on behalf of Mickey and one of our mission moments here. And I just want to say that, not all heroes wear capes. We have some great staff members that work at the school, and our coaches, most of them are part-time, supplemental coaches. Most of them don't work for the district. I think sometimes we take for granted, the knowledge and responsibility they have trying to keep our kids safe. So we had just an unfortunate incident a couple weeks ago where a young man got seriously injured, and Mickey was right on scene to take care of that. We followed our emergency action plan, and we're fortunate that everything is worked out well. The young man's in great shape and probably be returning here soon if he hasn't already to the sport he loves. So just her response time. She has a background in athletic training too, but our coaches have to take first aid, CPR, concussion, all the basic certifications. And fortunately, she has some additional background because we all feel like we'll be ready in that situation, but we're not really ready until we deal with it. But our coaches on the track staff were well prepared. They activated the EAP, which we have a very detailed, and thanks to our trainers, Ashley, Andrea, and Mandy, who make sure our coaches know that and have everything in order. And we were just lucky that it was a fortunate situation for us and that young man here. But like I said, Mickey, I think, exemplifies everything that this award and honor is supposed to be. And we're just very appreciative that we have great people like Mickey that take care of our student athletes, and our kids are in good hands. So thank you, Mickey, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you so very much. You got a great mom.
There's some stickers down there too, if your kids want some stickers. Yeah, see, smart kid, he followed mom.
Yeah, got him a sticker. There you go.
Mr. Ackerman, do we have any public commentary?
We do not.
We're going to move on to the treasurer's reports then. Michael, did you want to start off with your summary?
Yeah. So I mean, the main summary coming out of the financial committee for this meeting is just that our state performance audit kicked off yesterday. So, above and beyond what Doug will go over for the numbers, we have been talking about the state performance audit and getting it started. And we were able to have the state performance audit group in yesterday. They actually made a comment at the beginning that it was the most administrative staff they had seen in it sounded like forever, but maybe just been quite some time, to participate in what I would consider a kickoff. I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly what they called it, but it's kind of a kickoff meeting where our administrative staff is kind of aligning with them, and we're making sure that the scope of work is accurate. So, so that's getting started. It was nice to meet their team. It was really encouraging to hear the knowledge that they'll bring to the conversations with our district staff. They had a lot of positive things to say about our district already, which was great, and we look forward to the work that they put together for their final report, which will not be for another 5 or 6 months. And special thanks to you, John, to getting everybody there. As anytime you're doing an activity, a audit like this, or any type of event like this where you're working with an outside group, I mean, the participation from the district is key. They had that multiple times in their presentation, so the fact that our entire staff is ready and prepared to go through that and spend extra time when they've already got so much going on is great. And I know we as a board, I can speak for the board, that we really appreciate that. So, yeah, that's what's working at the Finance Committee, and then I'll let Doug roll in.
Can I get a motion to approve the board reports?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mrs.
Oh,
Wood.
sorry. We need to have discussion, don't we?
We can.
Let's have
We
discussion.
can go backwards if you want. All right. So, Madam President, members of the board, I am once again excited to give you a fiscal snapshot of the district finances as of February 28th. So, the first report that we see as you scroll down, Steve, is you'll see that we are balanced, which means that the state software matches our operating account, and then payroll balances. So that's very important. If we're not balanced, we're in trouble. All right, so the next report, this is our our investment report. And what's important here is you see that this right here, this column here, is what we've earned for the month of February, which is approximately $308,000. I know that's hard to see right there. But the next column is what we've earned year to date, which is almost $4 million. So I think that's excellent. $4 million, taxpayers' money that we can use in various funds. And then as you scroll down to the next report. Now, this report here, this is our comparison of our 5-year forecast through the month of February. So this is our 5-year forecast column right here. And then if you look on this column here and scroll down, you'll see, Steve, okay, right in here, you'll see that we are over, so we're negative spending right there. But don't worry about it right now. So this is a teaching moment. The reason I say that is last year, by this time, we had already received our second payment in tax revenue. So if you scroll back up and look at the first line right in here, which means we're due about another $17 million, which obviously would put us in decent shape. So the point I'm making is you have to have cash on hand. So I know I throw this phrase out a lot. We have to be fiscally responsible. We cannot overspend. If you overspend and don't have cash on hand, then that's when you start running into other problems. As you scroll down,
Do we know when to expect that next payment?
it should be here by the end of March, middle of April.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we head into the graph section, this is our revenue, and you can see that the first column here, now this is this is local revenue, and you've got fiscal years 23, 24, and 25. So as I stated earlier, you can see right there where there's a difference between what we've received last year by this time and what we receive currently. And then as you look at state revenue, you can see that we are up a little bit. And then as far as all other revenue, which encompasses many things, we are up over last year, down over 2 years prior, which is pretty common because, again, it involves many other things besides interest on your investments, and of course, any fees that we might collect, and some tuition payments. And then as you scroll down to the next slide, you'll see our expenditures. Now, salary and benefits, again, we have fiscal year 23, 24, 25. You'll see that they're up, which they'll always be up each year. But this is the key one right here. So this is our purchase services, and you can see that purchase services are down between last fiscal year and this fiscal year. And then when you look at all their expenses, way down. That's the key right there. So you might not see it in the numbers in the previous slide, but here you do get, or excuse me, 2 slides ago, but you do get to see it right here. And then in the final slide, final graph, you just see a different kind of bar graph. So it kind of shows it side by side between salary and benefits, purchase services, and supplies. But it does show you that it's going down, which means we are being somewhat fiscally responsible.
So is that downward slope on both purchase services and other expenses partially due to the cuts that we made last year?
Correct, correct, yes. Everything is starting to catch up, which is important.
When we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, could we blow that out a little bit to look at that more?
Sure can.
Yeah, so I mean, I know we still got a little time now, so
Yep.
it wouldn't make a lot of sense, but maybe like the May timeframe? Yeah,
Sure can. I'd be excited to do that.
yeah. All right, it's great.
Okay. Any questions? Other questions?
Okay, please call the roll.
Where are we? Mrs. Will?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve the vendors.
So moved?
Second? Do you want to tell us a little bit about these?
Let's see. I'm not sure all the vendors we have. We have a lot of vendors. Yes, we have various vendors. Now, the nice thing about the vendors is we actually run those through a company called Bonefish before they're brought to you. We do no expenditures until, obviously, you approve them. The state of Ohio approves them, and we make sure that the federal government, the IRS, has no issues. So,
Does anyone have any questions? Please
No.
call the roll.
let's see here. Mrs. Will?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve contracts.
So moved.
Second?
Is there any discussion?
I mean, I see the school links on there, so I know the question above was, you know, say a little bit about the vendors. Obviously, school links is right above that. This one's for 28,000. What is our limit on bringing the contracts to us? Is that why sometimes the contracts? there's
I
vendors
actually
and not
like to bring
contracts?
all contracts to you.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
So when we see a vendor, but we don't see a contract, why does that happen?
We probably haven't spent anything with them
So
yet.
we're
Or
approving
we
them?
don't have, it's just a one-time purchase.
Okay, so we're,
Yeah.
so we're approving them as a vendor, but they haven't came through in the contract yet?
Correct.
Okay, no, I just want to put that, I just wanted to bring that up
Yes.
as a question I think that the public might ask, should they look at 2 things like that, so.
Sure.
There's not always a contract to go with them. I'm good.
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve the donations.
So moved?
Second.
I would just like to say, we have a gigantic list of donations this month, and we are grateful to absolutely every single one of them. It really helps us out, and it really shows what a great community that we have.
Yeah, I did want to say, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
I did want to say well, 2 things. There's one on here that's an estate donation, and I've talked to Doug, and we're going to find out more about Kay Tanaka. It's an extremely generous donation from an estate, and I personally feel bad that I don't know more about
Right.
Kay, and I'd like to learn more about that donation from her estate to understand how we can make sure that we're thinking her family members properly. The other part is there's a few donations on here in memory of Peggy True. So I have Google alerts set up for whenever Milford Exempted Village School District is mentioned. And I saw in an obituary for Peggy that she was asking for her family and herself were asking for donations to SUPERINTENDENT, the elementary school. So when I saw that, I had pulled down the obituary, and I'll just read a short part here. Peggy dedicated over 30 years to teaching music at SUPERINTENDENT Elementary School, where her passion for music became a lifelong gift to her students and community. She taught countless children how to play the recorder, which resulted in lessons in patience for parents along the way. A trailblazer in music education, she started the beloved after-school ORF program, igniting a spark for creativity in young musicians. Beyond her teaching role, Peggy's talents extended to the national stage, where she served as local chair of the American, am I saying that right, ORF?
Yep.
Yes.
Schulwerk Association National Conference in Cincinnati in 2001, showcasing her commitment to music education. And it goes on to talk more about her career at various universities teaching music and various knowledge of the arts. So just wanted to read that and say thank you to the family and her memory. And yeah, so that was it.
I'd like to say that I had the pleasure of knowing Peggy for many years, and she was totally committed to education, the music education. She was a lady, and her husband was the treasurer for Claremont County.
Wow.
But Peggy was a delight, and she had her daughters that came through SUPERINTENDENT in the high school.
And
Yeah.
just so everyone is well aware, when we receive donations, 90% of them, there are restrictions. So they're asked to be placed into certain funds to be
Right.
spent a certain way.
All right.
Which
that's-
is okay.
And we
will.
honor that.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
we're
Yes,
happy to
ma'am.
take money in
Yes,
whatever
we
form,
honor that.
yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you to Peggy and her friends and family.
Yep.
Yep, she was great.
Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
Yes,
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes.
Also, quickly, thank
yeah.
you to Conger. I forgot to mention that, and really looking forward to that ribbon cutting ceremony that we have. So I know Conger, and then Jeff, was there another group? SHP. Okay. So thank you to them. Looking for that. All right, go ahead, Emily. Sorry for that.
That's all right. I now need a motion to approve the resolution to authorize filing of Board of Revision complaints.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Can you tell us, I feel like this process has changed every year or something.
It has changed over the years. We now have to bring it to you.
Okay.
But what this is this is an opportunity for the district, the Board of Education, to ask the Board of Revisions to reassess some recent commercial property sales. These sales actually exceed what what the auditor believes the property is worth. So we want to see if the Board of Revisions could possibly take the value of the property up, which means these individuals, these commercial sales, these properties would pay more in tax, which means everyone else would pay a little bit less. So, in the past, we never had to bring it to the board. We were just able to move forward.
Yes, well, thank you.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
yes,
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now moving on to superintendent's business.
Thank you, President Mason, members of the board. We have a middle school update for you today. I am pleased, as I know Jeff is, that we're still on target for an August 1 certificate of occupancy, and maybe even a little bit sooner for some of Jeff's and his folks to get some things in. So I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Yeah, it's been another good, productive month. Got a few pictures. Some of the color that's popping, there's a kind of it's an M, but it's not an M that's going up on the wall on the second floor. You can see the learning stairs off to my left. So that's going in. That's our cafeteria.
That's pretty cool, though. I can see how it has the two doors on the side to make the M, right? Yeah, it looks cool. That's cool.
Next one, Steve. We have casework and flooring that are going in on all 3 floors of the academic wing. This is the main courtyard in the academic wing. So what you're seeing is them finishing up the stone and grading it. And later on this week, they'll be putting gravel in there to prep it for pouring the concrete. This is a kitchen. That picture's actually probably about a week old. A little bit more of it's done, but the quarry tile's going in the kitchen. And then this is the main entrance. They're starting to frame in the canopy. If you're familiar with the Miranda Sports Complex, that canopy that kind of bridges the 2 buildings, this canopy will be very similar to what we see over there. And then this is an aerial of the site that was taken about 2 weeks ago. They come out and fly drones over the site probably about every 6 weeks. They don't change as much as it did when they were bringing the structure up because now we're under roof. But you can just see the incredible amount of activity and laydown area that's going on. They've started laying the brick on the gym area. So a lot of that real estate's being taken up by our brick mason, Combs and Weisbrot. And hopefully maybe by the time we have our April board meeting, they'll be getting close to finishing up and kind of taking a lot of that material and equipment out of there so that then we can start doing some of the site work that needs to be done. One of the big challenges we've got that we've been working with Conger as well as our contractors is trying to keep that stadium and Miranda Sports Complex open all summer and maintaining access to it, because pretty much as soon as we start tearing the junior high down, that parking lot has to come out too. There's a very large cut. If you've been over to the Miranda Sports Complex, when you walk out of the parking lot, you go down a pretty decent ramp. Well, that ramp, that lower, that's the level of what that parking lot's going to be.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of that has to come out. So in order to get that done for when school opens up so that we have access and we have parking, excuse me, we've got to get started on it early. So we're working to get site work to the west and north of the middle school done so that we can switch access to the stadium and the Miranda Sports Complex from that side of it instead of the side we're using now.
Exciting.
It'll be a busy summer.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
If this picture here, Jeff, the scaffolding is in the middle, if you will, but it is now on the gym.
Correct.
It has
It's
been
now
moved. That's the progress that's
surrounded
being
the
made.
gym, and the scaffolding's gone. There's still some kind of on the north side. They're still working on the cafeteria courtyard, but all that scaffolding has been taken down and moved over to the gym, and they've started laying the brick on the gym.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. These gentlemen in the front row are really excited about that, Jeff. They're your presentation. They gave you a... okay. Next item under superintendent's business is the legislative update. Steve, if you could just click on that first PDF for us, just to see all of the major bills and then other recently introduced bills. It's an extensive list currently right now that is under consideration. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention this evening is my own personal testimony as the superintendent on behalf of the Milford schools and this community to the House Education Committee. Had my 3 minutes. I thought I was getting 5. So I had to stop and go towards the end right away, knowing that however they have the testimony, and it's also linked here as well. And as Michael Wilson here later will bring us a resolution talking about the Fair School funding formula and just funding in general. So we did some advocacy work there. We will continue to do that. I also note that there were over 36 other treasurers, superintendents, and advocates who gave testimony this past week to the, I believe it was the Finance Committee or the House and Ways. I can't remember which, but certainly locally, and our former treasurer as well, John Espy, did that for us as well. So With that, there are some other bills to note. The Senate Education Committee did hear testimony on Senate Bill 7, sponsored by Senator Terry Johnson, who does represent us here in Milford, that will require all types of school districts to provide annual instruction to students in grades K through 12 on the effects of short-term and chronic substance abuse in the manner determined by the local school board. And then also Senate Bill 34, sponsored by Senator Johnson, would require public school boards to select at least one of the bill's listed historical educational documents to display in each classroom by July 1 of 26. So there's some testimony there. Other bills, House Bill 62, sponsored by Representatives Pizzuli out of Scioto County and Adam Byrd, just to the east here, makes changes to the College Credit Plus program, including requiring notice to school districts when a student drops a college course, transitioning to open source textbooks, and lowering the cost of certain online College Credit Plus courses. There's a host of others, but each month we'll bring you some legislative items for the community. Certainly, I think those massive list of bills that specifically affect education and/or property taxes would be listed there, and we'll continue to do our advocacy work at the state level and local here, and we'll bring it every month. So that's our legislative report.
What can community members who are watching or doing, specifically Jean Schmidt and Terry Johnson, because there are two representatives here, in your conversations, do they like calls? Do they like letters? Do they like emails? Do they like all of them?
That's a great question. I think, well, I know. Here's what I know, and it's based on what they've said to us. They like personalized notes, whether it be email. Jean Schmidt, Representative Schmidt, likes a handwritten.
Cursive.
In cursive, sure.
Yeah.
She would definitely like a handwritten note, but certainly emails are welcome. But they have to be personalized. Form, and we've heard this from others, not just from those two, but many of the other senators and representatives that we talk to, is you have to personalize it. Form letters, it's white noise, for lack of a better term, to them, so make it personal. And when they hear from 2, 3, or 4 people, that's a lot, is what we keep hearing. So I would just ask that whatever your cause, whether it's education or something else, if they're listening, they want you to reach out to them, and we would just ask that you continue to do that.
And I learned recently that they have very small staffs, like 1 and 2 aides. So it's not like, sometimes you think, wow, she's representing me. There must be a whole group of people. I mean, it's 1 or 2 people. So if you start calling, you're going to get to know them, and they're going to get to know you.
That's right. Representative Schmidt has Tyler. Tyler's been a great person for us to reach out to and speak to as well. And then also on the federal level, David Taylor. Here locally, I've been able to speak to one of his aides as well, trying to help one of our students get into West Point. So I've connected parents with him, and same thing. So they are they're reachable. I mean, you can reach out and they will talk to you. We've got cell phone numbers too. So it's been very good.
I also just wanted to thank you for going up to Columbus and testifying on this issue. It's so very important to our entire community, and the funding problems that we are having because of state funding. So it's really important that our legislators hear from people like Mr. Spicer, who know education and are living education every day, and know our district and know what we want, so that they are at least informed of the struggles that we are having and why it's important for us to have this budget bill passed.
Yeah, and there's an area on our website now too that has the template for writing the local legislature and their email addresses as well. So again, personalize it, but there's email addresses and phone numbers there. So
great. Now we are going to move on to, I need a motion for the waiver of the first reading of policy JEFB.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
That's a timing issue. So we have to implement this policy prior to April, and we wouldn't be in session for that to happen. So that's why we're asking for a waiver.
Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now I need a motion for policy for approval. This is JEFB and KGA.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now we're moving on to human resources business. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a summary. This is the committee that I am reporting on. We have a couple of things to highlight this month. We have, because of the recent renovations at the Z, we're generating a lot more interest from outside organizations, which is great. So we're excited to have a couple new job descriptions that we're going to pass tonight, well, hopefully pass tonight, for sound and lighting stagehands. And these are for productions that are happening in the Zamudio Theater. This is going to answer a need that we have to preserve the longevity of our equipment and just make sure that our investment is taken care of. The positions will operate like that of a site manager, so they'll be used on an as-needed basis. So if somebody from the community is renting out our theater, they are covering the cost to have those people do the sound and lighting. And then also, all of our staff recently, we kind of talked about this last time, were offered the opportunity for the Q12 Gallup Employee Engagement Survey in February. This was the third year that we've done that survey, and our participation increased 10%, with 75% of the entire staff participating this year, so that is really great. We had improvements in 10 of the 12 areas of the survey, so that is also really great. Right now, our next steps, the district administration and principals are meeting to analyze this data, and then they're going to share additional details with their staff. And then finally, we wanted to congratulate our Milford nominees for the Claremont County Educational Service Center's first Dinner of Excellence. This dinner recognized distinguished staff all over the county, and we had two people representing us, Trina Panko, who is our high school intervention specialist. She was selected as Teacher of the Year. And Carol Golick, who works at McCormick, she's the nurse. She was the recipient of the Educational Excellence Support Staff. Both of these employees demonstrate commitment inside and outside of the district with extensive community involvement. So congratulations to both of them. And with that, I need a motion to approve the MOU with MCEA.
So moved.
Any discussion around that? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. And now I need a motion to approve the job descriptions.
So moved.
Any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut, Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now, we are going to do a consent agenda for, a consent vote for items 3 through 5. Can I get a motion for those personnel approvals?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes.
Oh, I have 2 comments, sorry. Stephanie Allen, retiring, 20 years in the district, and Kelly Wiest, 30 years of service in the district. I'd like to congratulate them on their retirements.
Congratulations. I hear there's some chaperones needed for Scotland.
Right?
All right, now we're moving on to curriculum and instruction business. I need a motion to approve curriculum pay.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do you want me to do curriculum summary
yes.
real quick to start? Sort of related to the pay, but this month at our meeting, we talked about curriculum pay. We also have, as far as curriculum updates, Milford Junior High is adding 2 new elective courses that they're partnering with Great Oaks, one called Flight and Space and one called Magic of Electrons. Students will take 1 course per quarter for a full semester elective during their 6th grade year. So this is one of the opportunities we get as the 6th graders move over to the middle school to offer a wide variety of courses. So that's a really neat, sounds super interesting. We earlier voted on a contract for School Links. This is a career planning platform that will replace Naviance, which we've used in the past. School Links will bring us up to align with a lot of other districts, and starting in middle school, students will start using this system to kind of track their way through. So it will be a great place for families to go. We have a couple other items I think that, yes, so we're voting on. We have some outdated science books that we're going to either sell back or dispose of, whatever value we're able to get about them. We already talked about the new policy JEFB that was reviewed, and Columbus, this had come down from Columbus that we needed the policy in place by April. We had teacher professional developments. Teachers participated in the Ohio Writing Project, and math teachers got to explore some new tools to help students who need some additional help. And community engagement and technology, the district is considering joining the Claremont County Chamber of Commerce, which is something that we've done. And then we also talked about the phasing in timeline for the Bring Your Own Device program. Getting all of our students on one technology will be easier maintenance, longevity, and it's actually going to save money for families. So that will be rolling out. We had already planned to roll it out. We were looking at the schedule about how to get that.
It provides more security.
More secure, yes, more security, more cost effective for families. So that's some of what we talked about. Most of what we talked about is curriculum. So.
Very good.
Can I get a roll call for curriculum pay?
Sure. Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now can I get a motion to approve those 2 new junior high course offerings, Magic of Electrons and Flight and Space?
So moved.
Second.
Any additional?
I will say when we partner with Great Oaks, correct me if I'm wrong, we partner with Great Oaks, we share the cost of the teaching staff. So this gives us an opportunity to offer additional classes, and it doesn't require the full cost of the teacher on us. So it's really a great partnership to bring that to life for students.
When will those be available for kids to start taking those classes?
This fall.
This fall? Cool. Okay, awesome.
You going back to 6th grade?
I mean, I've got
Flight
the
in space.
I've got the time, I guess. Be a Billy Madison situation.
Right.
Okay, please call the roll.
All right. Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Madison, Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
and Mrs. Mason.
Yes. And finally, I need a motion to approve the science book sellback.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Moving on to business operations, I will need a motion to approve the Peterman contract.
So moved.
Second.
Jeff, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So as part of our current Peterman contract, there's a clause in the contract that if we reduce transportation by a certain amount, that it triggers basically a renegotiation. So while we have fewer routes and we'll be paying less on the Peterman contract, they still have the same, essentially the same amount of overhead. So that's kind of the reasoning in that. So we've worked back and forth with Peterman over the last couple of months after the board made the decision to move to state minimums next year. It does two things. So there's a 3% escalator every year in the contract. The first year of the contract with this amendment, the contract would actually go up 5.2%. It would stay 3% thereafter. Also part of this amendment is an extension to the Peterman contract, and as part of that extension, they are giving us a $200,000 credit that we can use all next year. We could split it up and take, bits and pieces of it over the next 5 years. I think we've talked with Mr. Spicer and Mr. Ackerman about taking that $200,000 all next year, but that's what this amendment to the contract would do.
What did our savings end up at?
Just a little under $1 million.
Okay, just want to make sure that's what we were
That's
targeting.
the estimate, depending on, even at state minimum, with special ed transportation and other things, we're still going to be massaging that, but that's the projection at this point.
Yeah, and that's where we were, I was happy to hear that that was the number because that's what we were kind of expecting. So being such a influx operation, that was good to hear. And then one other thing is that, and I know we talked about this in committee, but I had brought it up publicly before about the contract. I had brought up publicly that, when we renegotiate the contract to make sure that there wasn't, to pay attention to a clause being in there where if we reduced a few more routes, we'd have to come back to contract again. But in committee, Jeff made a good point to me that we're going to state minimum busing, so therefore, there isn't any other routes to reduce. So, so there wasn't a need for that. So I just wanted to bring that up because I had.
And if there's a bill, I'm not, there could be a possibility that maybe it's one or two routes that could be reduced based on ridership and enrollment and everything, but that wouldn't trigger any kind of a renegotiation.
Yeah, and I just wanted to I was thinking about that just to make sure, because we do have that cost savings by signing a longer contract, so we wouldn't want to get into a situation where we lose that by having to renegotiate. So it's a good for the district that's not going to be something for us to worry about.
Right.
All right.
All right. Is there any more discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve the change order for approval.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes. Now we need a motion to approve the turf replacement proposal.
So moved.
Second.
So I just want to point out, so this is Eagle Stadium. It is 12 years old. The projected lifespan when we put it in was 10 to 12 years. We have been saving the turf rental for those 12 years, which is going to pay the lion's share of this replacement. I talked a little bit ago about trying to navigate the summer work and maintaining access. Well, in addition to kids wanting to get on the fields, we've got to get a contractor in there to replace this turf as well. We did solicit proposals from both Maumee Bay, who has done our previous two fields, and the Moats Corporation, both very quality contractors. Moats did come in about $6,000 or $7,000 cheaper, I think, if I remember right. I'm asking for approval to approve that contract with Moats.
And then we also saw some images of what the printing on the field is going to look like, an option for an upgrade. Can you
There
talk
is
a
an
little bit about
upgrade.
that?
Moats calls it Game On. It's a way of kind of being able to get more graphics and stuff onto the field. It's a relatively new process. Mommy Bay did not offer that. I did compare the bids, not thinking of the Game On system. We're not asking the board to pay for that upgrade, but the boosters, from talking to Aaron the other day, the boosters have agreed to pay for that upgrade.
And that upgrade, using that process, because there aren't any sewn-in pieces, it extends the life?
I don't know that it extends the life. I can tell you in 12 years on the football field, and now what, 3 or 4 years on the 3 years on the soccer field, I think we've had 2 seam repairs. So they kind of sell that a little bit, but the reason for doing it is, I mean, we haven't had any problems with seams. It does speed up the process a little bit because there's not as much done in the, on premises. It's really kind of an aesthetic graphics point of view, which again is a reason why, hey, let's go to the boosters and we want a little bit of a bonus. And Aaron and I will be working with Moats over the next few weeks to come up with what that design looks like. There's a lot of different options that they've shown us, but we also got to keep in mind there's 4 fields worth of lines on this turf field. So we've got both boys and girls lacrosse, we've got soccer, and we've got football. So you don't want to make it so crazy that everything starts blending together. So we'll be working on that so that we can get them in here. Probably I'm shooting for like maybe the 3rd or 4th week of June. We've got camps and track camp and football camp and some of those things we got to get through in the 1st of June. So that's something we'll be working with over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and I'm happy to hear it's a lower bid, but Moats also is a local group. It's very possible that Moats has employees that live in the Milford community, being where they're located, so.
I see one of their trucks at Mac several times a week, so.
Yeah, so, again, you've said good things about our previous contractor, but happy to hear we're able to partner with somebody local, so.
Right. And just so everyone knows, we've been collecting money over the last few years, rental fees, and that's what's paying for this. So it's not coming from the general fund.
That's awesome.
And once again, it's end of life, 12 years, maximum possibilities.
Yeah, we actually, they call it GMAX testing, that they come out and they kind of bounce a weight on it and how high does it start bouncing up. And I think people realized how, I mean, our field's still safe, it's in good shape, but when we put the soccer field in, you could feel the difference between being on one and the other. And we don't want to get to the point, I can remember, I won't name the school, but many years ago that there was a school local to Cincinnati that they didn't have the money to replace their turf and the field really became unsafe to use. So we obviously don't want to get to that point.
Sounds good.
All right. Can I have a vote?
Mrs. Wilt?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut?
Yes.
Mrs. Mason?
Yes. Do we have any public participation?
We do. Mrs. Walker?
I don't know if this is the right forum, but it came out that water polo was canceled for next year, but we're allowed to have spring water polo, but the girls don't have full-time. So I don't know if this is, oh, sorry. I don't know if this is the right form. I don't know who voted on it. I don't know any of that. I just know that I need in writing what needs to happen and why the boys can have water polo, spring polo, but the girls don't have pool time. So I just need some clarification, so I don't know.
Mr. Spicer, can you connect
Yeah,
her?
we talked prior to the board meeting, and so I'm grateful that you came back to speak. And before the meeting started, I shot her an email and said that Aaron and I would connect with her. We've also connected with Josh House prior to this meeting about the future of water polo in general, boys and girls. But yes, we'll get connected tomorrow, I promise.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will be moving into exec.
Excuse me.
J1A, his.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, sorry, I did write it down. Yes, so I need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Michael, do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, so this resolution that I have passed to the members of the board, on the final page is a signature page that will, you know, as long as everybody approves, which I have passed it out and to everybody to read. This is a ceremonial or a symbolic resolution from our board supporting the Fair School Funding Plan. So John had spoke about it a little bit before. So we're on our final 2 years of the Fair School Funding Plan. The governor did put it in the budget. However, it doesn't have updated inputs, which means that it's working off of 2022 numbers when you're looking at benefits and other things like that. And then there's also a piece in there where it reduces districts that are on the guarantee by a certain percentage over the next 2 fiscal years, which if that clause is left in, Milford will lose around $900,000 over the next 2 fiscal years. I put forward this resolution also to support our other districts around the state. So I was talking to John at our committee meeting. I believe he said Kings would lose around $2 million over the next 2 years. Our neighbors, Loveland, has also put forward a very similar resolution, if not one that's identical to this one. As John had mentioned earlier, our previous treasurer that also mentored with our current treasurer, John Espy, works in Loveland. And not only have they gone up to Columbus and spoken to the legislature about funding this, we wanted to, I wanted to put forward this resolution for our board to send to the legislature to show that we're asking them to not only, implement the next 2 years of the Fair School Funding Plan, but consider a few updates. So one, it would keep pace with inflation since 2022 to 2025, and then secondly, not to ding the schools that are on a guarantee by certain percentages over the next 2 years. So.
I know this is very long, but would you mind reading it? Because I do find that it's very important.
Yeah. So it says, whereas the Ohio Constitution guarantees a thorough and efficient system of common schools throughout the state, and the Ohio Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled that the state's school funding system must be both adequate and equitable, and whereas a Fair School Funding Plan was designed based on research-driven inputs to ensure all Ohio students receive the resources necessary for a high-quality education, regardless of their zip code. And whereas a Fair School Funding Plan represents a bipartisan effort to address long-standing inequities in Ohio's school funding system by accurately determining the cost of educating a student, utilizing a base cost methodology that reflects actual district needs. And whereas the current state biannual budget proposal continue funding the Fair School Funding Plan, but fail to update the base cost calculations, relying on outdated 2022 inputs that do not reflect current inflationary pressures, rising personnel costs, or evolving student needs. And whereas Ohio's commitment to an equitable funding formula must include periodic updates to cost inputs to ensure districts are receiving an accurate and fair allocation of state resources. And whereas any proposal to reduce funding for districts currently receiving funding guarantees would destabilize educational services, harm students, and undermine the intent of the Fair School Funding Plan by shifting financial burdens onto local taxpayers or forcing cuts to essential programs. And whereas a fully implemented and regularly updated Fair School Funding Plan benefits all Ohio students by ensuring predictability, adequacy, and fairness in school funding allocations. So now therefore be resolved that our Board of Education, one, expresses strong support for the continued implementation and full funding of the Fair School Funding Plan, including the use of updated research-based cost inputs that reflect current economic conditions and student needs. 2, rejects any proposal to cut funding from school districts currently receiving funding guarantees, as such actions would create financial instability and negatively impact students and communities. And 3, call upon the Ohio General Assembly and Governor to uphold their commitment to fair and adequate school funding by ensuring that future biannual budgets continue fully funding the Fair School Funding Plan and updating cost calculations to reflect the actual cost of educating Ohio students. 4, encourages fellow school districts, educational organizations, and community stakeholders to advocate for an equitable school funding system that supports all Ohio students and does not pit districts against one another in a zero-sum funding model. A copy of this resolution will be forwarded to members of the Ohio General Assembly, the Ohio Governor, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, and other relevant stakeholders that emphasize the needs for continued investment in Ohio students and public schools.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you for doing that, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Will,
Yes?
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes. Now we will be moving into executive session. I need a motion to withdraw into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
The purpose of this executive session is to discuss the employment of a public employee. And I just want to note that we will be coming out of this room and we will be adjourning in this room, but we may be gone for a long time.
And we do not intend to make any votes.
We won't be doing
after
anything
this.
besides adjourning.
Could I squeeze in a quick shout out to the athletic boosters? They had their first annual night at the Nest this last Saturday. It was so much fun. It was fantastic. They raised a lot of money, and it had to be so much work for the people involved. So I appreciate all they do for our athletes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I also wanted to point out that our next board meeting is April 17th, and it will be here at 6 o'clock. All right, can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Will,
Yes?
Mrs. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chestnut,
Yes.
Mrs. Mason.
Yes.